from any party who intends to run for the presidency. He has to have capacity, he has to have capability. Because I was in a forum where we decided that whoever is going to be president of Nigeria again, whether it's from the north or from the south, we must do whatever it is in our power to ensure that the person has capacity, he has capability, and he has empathy, and he has every attribute of leadership that any leader must have. Of course, as human beings, we cannot be 100% perfect, but issues of leadership, we believe, must not be decided on the basis of where someone comes from, whether it's from the north or from the south. We must ensure that there is capability, there's capacity. We must have an objective criteria for deciding who we want to be our president in 2023. This is what we have concluded. And whatever we intend to discuss in this gathering of May, we must take into consideration that the recruitment method within our political parties have failed, and it must be regurgitated, because internal democracy has been obliterated, thereby making the recruitment of those who are going to aspire to offices arbitrary. Parties decide who contests for what in an arbitrary manner, and thereby, generally speaking, marginalizing very able Nigerians who can handle the problems of this country. The quality of leadership has been degrading over the years. And this is because there is no competition. It is competition that brings out the best in people. And some politicians in our, especially two biggest political parties, have refused to allow this competition to thrive. So we must knock on this issue. It's not just enough to gather, to gather ourselves together and discuss what is wrong with Nigeria. We must also look at this problem and see how we can get the two political parties, especially, to re-engage in internal democracy, allow competition, because it is in that competition that people elect who is the best to represent them. Aspirants to political offices we cannot afford, aspirants to be decided, or candidates to be decided on the basis of sycophancy. So this sycophancy has obliterated merit because there is no competition. And it is competition that propels people to desire to better themselves when they fail. And today, what our leaders, people who happen to be our leaders, what they are telling us is that, competition and the improvement of self do not pay. And that is why a lot of people in this country, particularly youth, are facing despair, because they are refused mobility politically. And since they are refused mobility politically, they cannot be economically mobile, and a lot of them drift into crimes of all sorts. So I want us to focus on this issue of internal democracy. And I want us to focus on a situation whereby whoever emerges as the presidential candidate of any party and other officers, because what we are supposed to do should be holistic. It should not be just about the presidency. It is supposed to be holistic. The entire political machinery must be regurgitated, to re-engage in internal democracy. Because if we don't do that, I'm afraid this is what will lead this country to perdition. I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but let me just hang on here. Thank you, Dele. And
thank you, sir.
Let me say hello to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us at such short notice. Thank you, sir. I would like to call someone quickly, and this time I'll be asking him a question based on the topic of this discussion. Is zoning necessary, or are we now saying zoning is no longer important? So will it be right for the North to retain power in 2023, or should they come to the South? And to help us do justice to that, I'll be asking a former presidential candidate, my good friend and brother, Professor, I think I saw him just now. Let me be sure he's still there. Yes, he's there. Professor Kingsley Moghalu, please take the floor. If we can do it within 3-4 minutes, that would be perfect, because I can see we have a long line up here tonight. Professor Kingsley Moghalu, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dele. Good evening to everyone here. My very deep respects to all of you. And I thank all of us for joining this conversation. Dele, you've asked me a question that is difficult but necessary. My perspective is as follows. Leadership should ideally be decided by merit and by competition. The two are separate. You can have a competition, but it's not a competition of the meritorious. And so the leadership, quote unquote, that will come out of such a competition, which is supposedly democratic, may not be able to move the country forward. So that's why I spoke about the two. We should focus a lot now on a leadership search beyond just politics. And politics can only be a vehicle to get the right kind of transformational and visionary leadership that I think Nigeria needs going forward. Now, specifically on zoning or rotation, my personal belief, I've run for president before. When I ran in 2019, I did not run as an ethnic candidate on the basis of any rotational argument. I ran because I felt the country was not in a good place and I felt I had something to offer. And so I humbly offered myself to Nigerians. But I was rejected. And one of the reasons I was rejected was precisely because many people were telling me that we like you very much. We would love to vote for you. But it's still, quote unquote, the turn of the North. I was told this in the North. I was told this in the West. I was told this even in the Southeast, where I happen to come from. So people's mindsets, their frame of mind was that, yes, you're a very good candidate, but the reality of Nigeria's politics is that there is this informal rotation. And so in their view, it was better to let the northern part of the country still produce the leadership at that time, whether in terms of the incumbent president or in terms of the main challenger at that time. And I was told, and everybody believed, that 2023, quote unquote, would be the turn, quote unquote, of the Southeast. And many people told me, if you come out in 2023, I'll vote for you, because that is the turn of your part of the country. I'm saying this to say that my personal belief is one thing. The reality on the ground in terms of how people think in Nigeria is another. And we all know why that reality exists. We know how President Obasanjo came to be president in 1999. We know that if it hadn't been for a conscious decision to stabilize the country with someone from the Southwest becoming the president, there was even someone from the Southeast who was elected the candidate of one of the major parties, but he stepped down in goodwill so that this consensus could go forward. So the two major candidates were from the Southwest. Now, so this is the reality. Now, when you frame a political tradition for a country, you must look at that country's peculiarities. And I think Nigeria should aim for a situation in which merit reigns, and that anybody, no matter where he or she comes from, can be president and should not be set back because of where he or she comes from. But if every part of the country has enjoyed, or most parts of the country, practically every part, has enjoyed a particular dispensation, such as we started in 1999, and a very significant part of the country has not yet had that opportunity. And that part of the country is a country that we know its peculiar situation in the history of Nigeria. And we are trying to build a nation. We are trying to stabilize our country. Should that rotational practice end when it's time for that particular group to be given an opportunity? I think that's the question that people have to look at and address very honestly. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. That was very straight to the point. I would like to quickly bring Otumba Mobolaji Falashe to speak. Do you agree that power should shift to the South, or it doesn't matter where it stays in 2023? There's a lot of agitation right now in our dear country, and many people feel that for other parts of Nigeria to have a sense of belonging, power should rotate. Some people are saying, no, competence is all that matters. Please give us your opinion. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy that the two speakers before me had actually tried to explain to us a little bit of history of Nigeria. My take on this rotational political thing that we are actually looking at in Nigeria is something that I would love us to look at the countries or the country that practices rotational government. Switzerland does, and it appears that Southerners haven't actually had the opportunity to, and some parts of Nigeria hadn't actually had the opportunity to govern. I would rather support the best candidate. But how do you know the best candidate? We've chosen some in the past that have failed us. I think if we try rotational government, which we had never tried before, I think that will be something new for Nigeria, and it will help all regions to at least say that some parts of Nigeria or all parts of Nigeria is actually covered, and not only a particular part of Nigeria governs the nation. The country that I live presently, we do have majority of the people who have actually ruled that are English people. But sometimes we've had in the past those who are not English. We've had Scottish, we've had Irish descendants, but from the particular group, we can actually vote or get the best candidate out of the region. Nigeria is a peculiar state whereby we have so many tribes. So in order to keep peace, I think a rotational government would be the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that pinpoint intervention. I would like to invite Mama Josephine Anene to please step forward and give us your opinion about this raging controversy, zoning or no zoning. What do you think, ma'am?
Good evening, distinguished personalities. Is that my...
Good evening, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening, distinguished personalities. I'm sorry I can't put on my video now, but you can hear my voice.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Yes.
That's fine.
Thank you very much for allowing me to do that. I've listened to everybody that has spoken, and in answer to the question you've asked, what do I think about zoning or no zoning? To me, to my mind, I think that fair is fair. The problem that I have seen is that a lot of people know when it is their turn, when it affects them personally, they know where to stand. But when it doesn't, they want to bury the truth. The truth is that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If we have a convention of zoning, we should maintain it until everybody has had their turn. Then we can now decide to start speaking English about merit. Because when you now say it has to be by merit, are you insinuating that if it goes to one zone, to that zone, there will be no meritorious person from that place? So if we're talking about merit, there is no zone that has no people that can, that have the capacity or who merit to be president in this country. So for me, zoning must be completed. The round of zoning must be completed this time around. The Southeast should produce the president. Then, to the Right Honorable Galin Naba and some other people who have been speaking, they kept mentioning he has to be, he must be. Where is the she? President of Nigeria must not be a he. It can be a she. And the world is showing you all over the world that this time it is a she. And we have meritorious, she's that have merit and capacity. Look at the latest, our Konjo Iweala. The whole world is applauding her now. It's a she. So the he's for my mind, should just go and rest in 2023 and allow a she, you people should find out a she that can put this country right. I don't want to waste anybody's time. You ask me a direct question, I answer you. I support zoning to be completed this time around. And this time around, it should go to Southeast. And the Southeast, please, Nigerians, identify a good she and probably make Gali Nyaba the vice president.
My dear mommy, before you go away, could you help us identify one or two she's from the Southeast?
Yeah, putting me in a corner now because I didn't ask you to identify your.
No, it's based on your recommendation.
When you were proposing his, so don't ask me. We will sit down. You will sit down. The right honorable knows many she's that can do it and that he can work with. So I'm proposing, the North to give us a vice president, and I can identify one already. But Southeast will give us a president, either a he or a she.
You are a seasoned politician, man, and that is why, and we don't have too many female on this platform tonight. So that's why I'm engaging you further. I'm sure you are aware that there were overtures to the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, to join APC. There has been a denial this evening that it is not true and all that. So now that you are talking about a she, so would you support? So are you saying you disqualify if a President Jonathan decides to come back? You support, or you will insist on a she?
I will not support President Jonathan because President Jonathan is from South, and South House had their turn. So I would definitely not support President Jonathan. And those that are flying that kite, please, we need stability in this country. There are many more important things we should be trying to solve than, stoking unnecessary ethnic, divisions. Southeast should produce. Jonathan is not from the Southeast. He had his stint and he tried his best. He did very well. Comparing what we've had in the past 6 years now or so to President Jonathan, I'm sure every Nigerian wish that President Jonathan has stayed, but that time has passed. So I don't have anything personal against President Jonathan. I'm talking about zoning, and zoning should be completed. We should go to the Southeast and get a good he or she that has the capacity. And if you go to the Southeast, they are let me speak Igbo, they are millennials. That is, they are in their millions who can rule this country and rule this country very well.
Thank you very much, Mommy. Thank you. Wow, this is hot. I'll still probably come back to you later. I still have one or two questions regarding that. I would like at this stage I want to navigate between the older generation and the middle age and the younger ones. So let me invite my brother, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, to make contributions to this raging debate about zoning or no zoning. What should we expect in 2023? Good evening, my brother Chidi.
Good evening, Bob G, and my elders. Sorry, I'm doing homework with my daughter and in between things. Can I come back in about 10 minutes? Because they are preparing exams from homeschooling, please.
We understand.
I'm
doing the same off and on, so that's fine. That's fine. We would let you rest for now and then come back later. Okay, I would like to invite my very good friend all the way from London, Mazi Ezeoke. If you are there, please join us and let's have your kind words regarding this debate. Mazi Ezeoke, Are you there, please? I thought I saw him just now.
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you saw me.
Okay, please.
Okay, I'm trying to, sorry. Okay, Mike, sorry, I was a little bit off before. So thank you very much, Dele. You know, the issue here has been discussed is very for some generations. When we listen to Professor Patu Tome talk, he talked about having a nation where people could decide not to be part of a particular, or have the right to decide if they want to be part of this nation. Moving forward, coming to the realities of today, the question, as you asked, Iom, is about the zoning. Now, I think in aligning with her, I would also align with my good brother, Professor Kingsley Moghalu. There is something that we must know. Question is, do we want to build a nation? If we want to build a nation that has equity and fairness, therefore, certain considerations has to be made. Someone here alluded to the fact how, I think that was Kingsley actually, alluded to the fact when concessions were made in 1999 in order to assuage the feelings of the Southwest. Ordinarily, there might be and there are people who could, ordinarily win that election if concessions were not made. But here we are on a crossroad. The question probably that should bother us more is, before we even get to 2023, how sure are we that we will get to 2023? Shouldn't we first talk about how do we, repair the vehicle that will probably take us to 2023 before we talk about that? And I think in repairing that vehicle, which is, do we continue in this structure that we have today, or do we have to look at the structure that we have today, make amends? There are, various permutations, there are various models that have been thrown out there. And sometimes, sometimes we ask people, they say, oh, we don't know what people mean by restructuring. I mean, sometimes it's actually laughable when you hear people say that. And, my fallback is, and that will be my conclusion is, as we say in Igbo, for those who say they don't know what that means, there are fallbacks. Some have argued 1963, some have argued even the 2014, and many of us have said, well, in 2017-18, there is one done by the APC as well. That is a good starting point. Now, my conclusion is, if we want to work together as a nation, if we want to work together and get somewhere, one should be considering equity and fairness. And on that note, aligning with Kingsley Model, thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, darling.
Thank you, Mazi Ezeoke. It's always a pleasure to see you. I would like to invite a woman of substance, Senator Matri Okadibo, to please give us our views on the debate, zoning or no zoning, woman or another man. So where do we go from there? Distinguished Senator, are you there, ma'am? Yes, I think I can looks a bit dark on the camera. Good evening, ma'am. Hello. Ben, can you unmute her in case she's still muted? Can you please check? Good evening, Senator Okadibo. I don't know if she's still muted. Please unmute if you can hear me, distinguished Senator. I don't know why we cannot get audio. Okay. While we are trying to fix our audio, let me quickly go and invite, yes, Chief Jonathan Ashake, can you please join us now while we wait for Senator Kadigo? Good evening, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. And you?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this discussion on issues that affect our nation, especially for those events that are coming for 2023. I'm delighted to be a part of the discussion that includes so many notable Nigerians, Professor Magalu, Omeaneni, my speaker, Gali Umar Naaba, and a whole lot of others. The question before us is about zoning and 2023. It's always my belief that in the 668 local governments and the 6 area councils of this country, there is none of them that when we want a presidential material, a person qualified, man or woman, to be president of this nation, we will not have so many in every local government. So the question about merit is that we have so many people that have that merit, that thing called merit, that thing called qualification to be president of this nation and take this nation to greater heights. But what has always been the problem is that we have very weak institutions, particularly that institution which organizes the platform for election of our leaders. I'm talking about INEC. And so that institution, from one generation of leadership to the other, has continued to get weaker. And so unless we get to that point where votes will count, unless we get to that point where one vote can make one lose an election and where one vote can make one win an election, then the person that is so elected will have respect for the people that elected him, will have respect for the rule of law, will have respect for the constitution of the land. But what do we see today? People just get up, win election. They can even say a whole section of a country or a whole section of a state They don't want to deal with that section of the state. And they still go ahead to win election. In a normal claim, they ought not to win that election. So something is essentially wrong. So what Nigerians should be calling for is to call for strengthening of our national institutions, including the police, INEC, and all such institutions. I'm talking about zoning. Now that I've talked about the weakness of our institutions for election. Now, if we allow this thing and say we're looking for merit is everywhere in all the local governments, like I've said. But the zoning now takes care of this deficiency that we have, the weak institutions. Now, when we zone to a particular region, then we look for the persons or persons that are qualified, that have that merit, and we'll find them in.
It seems it has frozen.
Trees.
No, sir. It seems we are having issues with his microphone. Hello, sir. Maybe
The medium
it's freezing.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I'm hearing you now, sir.
Okay, so I'm saying that it is only this zoning, because of the weak nature of our institutions. It is this zoning that gives some kind of remedy. That when we zone to a particular geopolitical zone, then we look for the best hands there. We give them the opportunity to bring the best hands. And like Professor Mogolu said, yes, that is true. From 1999, it was zoned to the southwest because of the perceived injustice that was done against the southwest with the Abiola election. And so Obasanjo and Palaye were the forerunners.
It seems we have issues again.
Can you hear my voice?
Okay, I can hear your voice now, sir.
Yes. Now, what I'm saying is that from 1999, we had the Southwest. And from 2007, after the 8 years of President Obasanjo, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. After the 8 years rule of Obasanjo, the game was thrown open to all Nigerians. And we all know that at that time, if it was left like that, Chief Peter Odili would have won that election because I was a delegate. I was fully involved. But because of this zoning system, President Obasanjo ensured and talked about the zoning and zoned it to the Northwest. And that produced Yaradua. Then, by this occurrence of death, Goodluck Jonathan came on board. And it was said that because of what they call gentleman arrangement, after the 4 years of Goodluck Jonathan, that he would hand over back to the North as that type of zoning arrangement. And so the people that rose against Goodluck Jonathan and voted for another candidate in another party, that is the reason that was given, that he did not obey the zoning arrangement. So we are here now. All other geopolitical zones have tested this, except the Southeast. Is it that when it comes to the Southeast that we are talking about merit? I know of notable Southeasterners that can produce, if we're talking about the president of the world, they can produce the president of the world. by their quality. So I think we should not change the game midway or change the rule while the game is going on. I think zoning should stand, and the zoning to the southeast should stand, and in fact to correct for the weakness of INEC as it stands. That is where that zoning should stand, so that Nigeria can get to the next step that we need to get to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Before I call on the next speaker, I would like us to address another controversy. When we talk about zoning and we talk about Southeast, the Igbo nation goes beyond Southeast. It meanders into part of South-South. Even for those who believe in Biafra, South-South is on the map. So how do we deal with this? So when we talk about Southeast, are we speaking stricto sensu about the Igbo people only in the geographical expression, Southeast, or does it include Igbos in other areas? This is a controversy that I think it would be nice if you can also address it tonight. I would like to invite a man I respect so much. I like to watch his every interview. According to Wikipedia, Mr. Obadiah Malafia is a Nigerian development economist, international polymath, central banker, statesman, and the 2019 Nigeria presidential election candidate of African Democratic Congress. He's a former official of the African Development Bank Group and one-time deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria. And one of the issues I want him to address is, do you believe a third force can win an election in Nigeria? I want you to talk about zoning, then the issue of the third force.
Hello?
Because,
can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Ogadele Momodu. I don't think we have ever met, but I've read a lot of your works. And when I grow up, I'd like to be like you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And well, thanks so much for this opportunity and for Kennedy and the organizers for this forum. I think it's a very important one. And I really welcome this opportunity to compare notes and to share ideas. I honestly believe a third force can win. I have no doubt about it. You and I know from interacting with many young people in this country, you get the strong impression that they're really tired and they're really scared about what the future holds if we continue with these two, like they used to call the IMF and the World Bank, two terrible twins, they used to call them in Africa. The two parties are like two terrible twins. Neither offers any hope for the country. They are mostly the recycling of products that are really have passed their sell-by date. But of course, you don't win elections in the blogosphere. You don't win election in cyberspace or by whipping up, a frenzy in social media. You win elections, as John Fitzgerald Kennedy would say, in the public arena with sweat and sweat and sweat, talking to people, engaging with the public, with voters, with the youth, with women groups, with all community leaders, and bringing everyone on board into a common and a shared vision of where we want our country to go. That's the only way to do it. And it requires really, really thinking outside the box. And I don't know whether we are ready for that. You know, we have to be ready for it. And we must be so hungry for change that we are ready to do what it takes. My dear comrades, you look at our country today and you ask yourself, where will this country be in 10 years' time with the same crop of people that we have, thinking in the same way, with absolutely no ideas about the demands of our 21st century digital global economy? They're not interested in that. They're just interested in what they can get here and now. The cash and carry, stomach infrastructure, political culture. And of course, you and I know that that ain't gonna take us nowhere. It's gonna take us into a deeper and deeper hole. And if we continue in a deeper hole with a rising population, a hungry and angry population, honestly speaking, it will spell doom for our country. And honestly speaking, I don't know about you, I don't think this is the time for politics as usual. Because what's at stake is nothing less than the future and the survival of our country. So, okay, we can just say, well, let's just bring another politician, let him come and just lie to us, and, you know, play to the gallery, do all the grandstanding, play all our ethnic and political and religious cards, and get the person. And he continues in the same way. Let me tell you, Nigeria will not survive another 20 years of this madness. What we need is a detribalized Nigerian who has a clear vision, who has the courage of a lion, who is ready to put his foot down, who is not blinded by religion or tribe, who loves the people dearly, and who is ready to stand up and be counted, and a man who has a plan. To me, it doesn't matter where this person comes from. At this point, it's this point in time. So really, this is my humble thoughts. I wouldn't want to say more, but we can't play politics as usual because this country will not survive another 10 years of this madness. That is the truth.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to check if Senator Okadigo is back on. Please, let's bring her on immediately if she's available and our mic is working perfectly. Okay, fantastic. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. To all the distinguished personnel and persons on this platform. I have listened attentively to the different arguments on the issue of zoning or rotational presidency. And it does baffle me that we're still talking zoning and rotational presidency at this point in time. I mean, everybody has talked about fairness, talked about justice, equity, and all the fine words that we can think about. But the truth of the matter is, my question is, why is there this I would say a dodging thing about zoning it to the southeast and saying in particular that this is zoned to the southeast. Because it seems to me there's a deliberate thing for not voicing it or being specific as to this is what Nigeria needs. We've had pretty much all the zones have a goal. But the southeast is a zone if what we go with the Nigerian setup. We say Nigeria has 6 zones. But the southeast is one zone that every time it comes up, I think, Chief Momodu, you did say something about southeast and south-south being one. I don't think that is the case here because there are 6 zones in Nigeria and specified 6 zones. Southeast is a standalone and should be treated as such. So until that is done, I'm not sure Nigeria is really ready for the healing. And that is where I want to stop for now. And listen to others continue on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. What I said was that there are people who have argued that the Igbo nation dovetails into part of South-South. Not that I was saying Southeast is part of South-South. Thank you, ma.
Well, let me quickly say something here. I'm glad you corrected that. You did say that some people argue. And that's where I'm saying that those people who argue do not argue right. Because Nigeria specifically is into 6 geopolitical zones. And let us treat the Southeast as a standalone zone, which it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, I would like to invite Professor Femi Odufumilade, Director, Center for Contemporary Security Affairs at the University, to please speak to us. I'll be very delighted if you talk to the issue of zoning as well as restructuring, because maybe you'll be able to elucidate for us on the issue of restructuring. Because when people talk about restructuring these days, you can have as many varied opinions as possible. So, Prof, if you are there, okay, good to see you, Prof. Please unmute, sir. If you can hear me, please unmute your mic.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Thank you, Shivdele Momodu, for this opportunity to be part of this enlightening discourse. First and foremost, let me introduce myself by saying that I was one of the pioneer members of the ruling APC. I belong to what I would call the intellectual wing of the party. And restructuring was the core manifesto element of the party, among other social welfareist programs that were, crafted into the manifesto. And the restructuring was not crafted as a regional agenda. I'm a Yoruba person, and some of the moving spirit of the proposal from the Southwest. But we just felt that the federal government and its apparatus of state have taken more than it can chew. And that is why we have a lot of inefficiency. And there was need for some form of unbundling and devolution of power so that we can have better service delivery at various levels of government. It wasn't meant to, undermine any section of the country or reduce their power. We never look at it from that perspective. Having made that clarification, I can also tell you that this is, we're into the 6th year of the APC administration, and it doesn't appear that we're going to have anything called restructuring too soon. Aside the fact that the president of the country, who happens to be the leader of the APC, is not interested, apparently, in the restructuring agenda, the constitutional procedures required to push through some of the elements of this restructuring proposal is quite cumbersome. You require two-third majority in the two-chamber legislature in Abuja, as well as two-third approval of the various state house of assemblies across the country. And in a situation where the northern part of the country, especially the conservative north, believes that restructuring is an attempt to whittle down their influence politically, economically. Their attitude to the issue has been so unwelcoming. And without that meeting of minds, that consensus that this is good for all of us, we are not likely going to have anything called restructuring anytime soon. And that dovetails into the issue of 2023 presidency. Now, for some of us, politics is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. I teach in a university, and I hold certain values here. And I know what I teach my students over the years. I am not in politics because I'm hungry or because I want to amass billions. Even now, I don't know what major difference billions will make to my existence. Is it in terms of the food I eat, or the type of dress I wear, or where I live, or the volume of travels I make around the world? I travel a lot already. So I don't know what tangible difference it will make. But the reality on the ground is that this same caliber of people that have been in power since 1999, when we returned to this Fourth Republic, are the ones that are still calling the shots. And their orientation for itself, in terms of where we find ourselves today as a nation, they are not going to change anytime soon. And they are getting a lot more powerful, and I will explain that. I have come to the conclusion that poverty, and whenever I have the time, I think I will need to write a book on that. Poverty as an instrument of governance. The Nigerian ruling elites, whether in the north or south, have effectively mastered the use of poverty to entrench and perpetuate themselves in power. That is why when in an election that you think will go this way, it goes the other way. Overnight, all they do is share money. People will be on the queue. I've been there where I see them sharing money. So that is what is going to happen in 2023. The rate at which things are going. So don't expect any magic. And the volume of money we are talking about, you and I don't have it. Jowore doesn't have it. Dr. Obadiah Melafia doesn't have it. Dele Momodu, I don't think he has it, except he's hiding it. So that kind of money is only those who are in government and are stealing from our common patrimony that can afford to dole the money out, because we are talking of billions. So to that extent, and the people are waiting. Osita Shidoka said something that I found that anytime I remember it, I laugh a lot. When he attempted to contest for the governorship of Anambra State, he said there was one boy who commented to him that, Oga, we've seen your manifesto. In fact, of all these people saying they want to be governor, yours is the best. You have a vision, you have a plan for Anambra State. But by the way, Party A, this is what their candidate is offering, throwing around to individual voters. Party B, this is what their candidate is offering. How much is yours, no matter how small? What are you offering? That is the orientation of our voters. And we are talking of millions of people. So that is the problem. That is the major challenge confronting us. Now, talking of while the Southwest may be crying more about restructuring, the caliber of politicians that dominate the scene in the Southwest are just the same thing, essentially, with these other politicians in other parts of the country. And they are not going to change overnight. So, restructuring or anything ideological is not on the table at all. It's just crude contest for power and the benefits that go with it, which includes majorly looting directly from the treasury, allocating and reallocating oil blocks, giving license to run ports or withdrawing the license from one person and giving it to the other. It's just politics of spoils politics. So for us, the issue of restructuring doesn't come in. They may just make it a campaign rhetoric, but it doesn't go beyond that. So the hope of a change then lies not in the present crop of politicians, but in those that truly have the kind of attributes that Dr. Obadiah Melafia just painted. He painted the attributes eloquently, and I was just saying amen, because those attributes, those who have them, we have them in abundant number in Nigeria. But for them to come into politics and have an impact, it's going to be a Herculean task. So the way forward is for those of us that love this country to start to roll up our sleeves and begin to work hard and locate ourselves wherever we are. Because the time ahead is too short, just about 2 years plus from now. And those who are going to hold us hostage going forward, they are already meeting. They are not even sleeping now. From across the country, they are crisscrossing from one party to the other because the price is high, and that is Nigeria's treasury, from Abuja to the various states and local governments. So if we are the only hope, except we get to a point where as we are careening into chaos now, maybe if this chaos is we allow it to really bubble, to burst as a bubble, maybe something new will come out of the ashes, of the chaos. But if we want a peaceful change, then some of us have got to be more selfless, be ready to make more sacrifice, be ready to show humility and differ to one another, and locate ourselves across the length and breadth of the country and see how we can get help. The greatest assets we have, these politicians don't have. Some of us have our brains. We can analyze things clearly, and we have credibility. So that is that. That is just what I would like to say.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you for that very powerful delivery. You mentioned something about money politics. I don't think there is no candidate in the world who can fully fund a campaign, not even Donald Trump. You still have to, in Nigeria, before you can get campaign funding or donations, the owners of the country, I once heard that phrase around 1998-99, and I want us to talk about it very quickly. I was supporting Chief Olufalaye against Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, and I suggested to Chief Falaye that we should get Dr. Rinwan Lukman, who was at OPEC at the time, to be his running mate. And he said, okay, how do we get him? I said, I'll volunteer to go. And I traveled to Vienna to talk to Dr. Rinwan Lukman, now of blessed memory. And that was the night he told me some people are the owners of Nigeria and that they decided on President Olusegun Obasanjo. I said, I would not go to vote, or how can the owners of Nigeria just tell us it's Obasanjo? He said, well, I will soon find out. And I should thank Chief Olufalaye for considering him as running mate, but he's not interested. And true to his prediction, the owners of Nigeria made sure that President Obasanjo, that Chief Obasanjo became the president of Nigeria. So the issue of the owners of Nigeria, a Nigerian mafia, but for that reason, on this note, I would like to invite Dr. Godson Azu. Before him, I would like to invite Dr. Nwachukwu Anankwize, who is the president of the World Congress, highly celebrated medical doctor based in California. Please, I want you to speak to us now. Thank you, sir. Is Dr. Nwachukwu Anankwize there now?
I'm here.
How are you, sir?
Oh, not bad.
It must be the afternoon in California. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy to hear everybody speaking and saying what the idea is. I'm Dr. Nwachukwu Anankwize. I'm a medical doctor here in California. I'm the chairman of Igbo World Assembly. I represent all the Igbos in 57 diaspora countries. So I will speak generally, then I might answer some of the questions you asked. We as Igbo believe in true democracy and freedom, which we want ourselves and others in Nigeria as a whole and Africa. Our history shows Igbo have always stood for democracy and fair play for all. We believe and promote religion. We do not believe in religious and based politics. We want Nigeria where the majority right is balanced with the minority right. We want Nigeria where the various ethnic groups feel they have a stake and sense of belonging. We envision a Nigeria where leadership is based on hard work, fairness, where fairness reigns, sense of direction, accountability for all the groups, and for the common good of Nigeria. We envision a Nigeria where people can vote, have been voted for everywhere. We want presidential power, a presidency from Southeast on Igbo will be more willing than any part of Nigeria to share power, share position with other ethnic nationalities. All we want is our fair share and not more. We can do this more than any other group in Nigeria. Then Igbo man, we don't want to be gathering all the powers, all the army, navy, air force. We don't need it. Just our share is fine, and other people can have their own share. We believe that all the different people in Nigeria have particular abilities and skills that if brought together, we will be a formidable force in the world. We should have been like a country like India or Singapore by now, but what's keeping us down is God is poor leadership. God gave us everything in Nigeria except good leaders. God gave us water, river, fish, cassava, cocoyam, everything. Look at many countries in the world have a desert like Afghanistan, or even Saudi Arabia. They can't plant anything. God gave us that. God kept us from having hurricane, tornado, massive flood, hurricane. We don't have it. We don't have earthquake. The only thing we don't have is good leaders. Nigerians are very capable from all the ethnic groups. Here in America, Igbos, Yorubas, and a lot of ethnic groups, they are doing excellent at the top in America. Here, not at the bottom, not catching up. Our Nigerian people are, at least every Nigerian here have at least a master's degree. We can compete in all the schools and everything. The only thing keeping us down is ourselves. So we need to find a way of living together. God put us together for some reason. If we can put it together, I think nobody can stop us. In my opinion, if Zika and Awolowo were able to work out their differences, we will be one of the top countries in the world because we have the people who are doing it. So presidency. All parts of Nigeria have produced presidents, except for Southeast. For the good of all Nigerians, we need to have power rotate. We need to be our brother's keepers. For the good of Nigeria, we believe in our geometric interest that we need to put Nigeria together for the good of all Nigerians by having power rotate from one group to the other. The Southeast zone have never tasted presidency, and it should move to the front. After that, then maybe we can have another system. And that answers your question about rotation. You talked about presidencies in the South, in the Southeast. You have that with the Yoruba people. You have Yoruba people in Kwara. You have Yoruba people in part of Kogi. It's the same thing. Yorubas have tasted power in South, so it also applies to Kwara. It also applies to Kogi. So we're talking about zone. We need to zone. We have 6 zones. We need to move power to zone, not about Igbo people, but about the region and the zone. You talked about restructuring. We think restructuring would be good for Nigeria, based on true federalism, based on region and zone. We need a Nigerian political structure that is based on equity, fairness, and balance and access. We feel that on the long run, through federalism, and will help everybody, all the groups will develop at their own pace. If you think education is best, you do that. If you think business is best, you do that. You build what your people want. You don't feel limited. So true federalism, physical federalism is what we want for Nigeria. It will help everybody grow at their own pace. I will stop here for now, but I answered 2 of your questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was very, very good. Thank you so much. I will now call on Dr. Nana Igwe, a top UK-based medical doctor, to please speak to us. He's had his career at the prestigious Imperial College. He's the president of Ohaneze Indigo UK. Please, it would be nice if we can have him speak to us now. Thank you so much. Dr. Nana Igwe, is he ready now, please? If you can unmute him, if he's ready. Dr. Nana Igwe, if he's not ready, then just a minute. Let's go back quickly to my prof, Chidi Odinkalu. Is Chidi ready now, please?
I'm ready. Hello?
Okay, please.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Dr. Igwe, okay, let's have you, and then we'll come back to my brother Chidi. Good evening, sir.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Comrade Yere. I want to thank all the organizers and all the people who are attending this dialogue. It is a high time that Nigerians come together in the true spirit of oneness, the true spirit of understanding, the true spirit of trying to find a lasting solution to the problems of Nigeria. One, we believe that fairness
equity and justice. When people come together and allow merit and fairness and justice to be the basis on which the country is governed, that is when development comes. That is when true greatness is achieved. And that is when everybody is happy and they will be able to perform truly in the best. They show patriotism. Patriotism is best at that time. For instance, if you come to the advanced countries, you hear of the American dream. What that means is that every American has the capacity to achieve the best. If you come to UK, you hear of a UK dream. Even as an immigrant, regardless of all the dichotomies, you have the capacity to get to where you want to get to. You will not be limited by race or color or other things. In Nigeria, it is not like that. You just talked about the owners of the country. What we are saying is that the southeast of Nigeria should, in 2023, be given the inalienable right to produce the presidency of Nigeria. The reason why we are saying that is that from independence, Nigeria has produced the different countries. Nigeria stood on the tripod of the peoples, the Hausas and the Yorubas. This was the tripod. And these other two, we were standing on three legs. And since that time, it's only two legs we've been using to trying to stand. And that is why we have been unbalanced. We need to stand on our three legs that we had at independence. In other words, this is what people also talk about when they talk about restructuring. It is going back to our root, going back to the true independent agreement that we signed, whereby there was equity, there was justice, and there was fair play, and allow rule of law to be the basis of our existence. We shouldn't have the owners of the country, especially when the owners are promoting bigotry, promoting favoritism, they're promoting mediocrity, and they're promoting injustice in all spheres of our existence. And therefore, time has come in 2023 for Nigeria to the first time get it right. The basis of the agitations going on in the country, ranging from the Boko Haram, the herdsmen crisis, to the end-SARS protests, to the killings, to the deprivation that is going on, to the unemployment, decadence of infrastructure, education, health. Nothing is working in Nigeria. The basis is because the people, so-called owners of Nigeria, are clueless and they do not care about the progress and indivisibility, the survival of Nigeria. Let me say it very loud and clear. It is the owners of the country that are responsible for the decadence of the country. And it's time for us to change. The Igbos have things that are unique. But every Nigerian part, regions, we have things that are unique that, can help the country. What we are saying is that what is good for the geese is good for the gander. The Southeast are vibrant people. We are the people, we are very well educated. We're the business people, we're the business gurus. We have something special. Let Nigeria give us that chance to give Nigeria what is special in us. And I believe that we will be able to advance the country. We will be able to take the country to a different height. I wish to use this opportunity for Nigeria to celebrate Dr. Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, who on her own and on merit stood out and contested for the World Trade Organization's Director General. Regardless of the shenanigans of different people, including Mr. Trump, but the world saw in her the capacity, the capability, and her aptitude, and said, no, this woman, you will take this job. You know, this is what we should be celebrating, our best, and we have our best in all spheres. So my brothers and sisters in this dialogue, I want to thank you for the opportunity given to me. But I believe that doing things right, allowing the right principles to govern, to be the basis of governance in Nigeria, that is the only way we can stop all these voices of dissent, of people wanting to leave Nigeria. The earlier we realize that, the better for all Nigerians. I want to thank you all once again for the opportunity given me. And I believe that definitely in 2023, that Southeast producing the presidency of Nigeria is a sine qua non. There is no going back. Anyone, whether you like it or not, please, we are begging, give the Igbos a chance. Southeast of Nigeria. You will not regret it, Nigerians. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Dr. Nana Igwe, thank you for speaking to us. I would like to call on Prof. Chidi Odinkalu. But before he speaks, I would like to just chip in something that I don't personally believe that the people of Nigeria need to beg to serve Nigeria. It's well deserved. But politics is a game of number. And I like to give the example of Buhari himself. I don't think there will be any northerner in a long time to come who will be as popular as Buhari in terms of cult followership. Yet, he contested 3 times and he couldn't win the election. What it means is that in terms of mathematics, you must win at least 4 solid states out of the 6, 4 solid regions out of 6 before you can become the president of Nigeria. So don't you think that the Igbo will need to lock down the entire South and try to lock down maybe the North Central and pick bits and pieces from Northeast and Northwest, and we coast home to victory, instead of people thinking that maybe they have to give it to us specially. I think it can be done if you work with others. And I know of groups that are saying, look, the Igbos must now begin to work with the rest of the South, lock down the entire South, get your North Central, and then you'll be home. You coast home to victory. So, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, what do you think? Is Prof there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you ever so much. It's good to see you again, and my apologies and gratitude for the forbearance. I've tried to audit as much of the conversation as I could in between a few things. And it looks to me as if there are multiple conversations taking place. Let me take off, Bobby, from where you stopped. And where my brother Nana also was on some of the points Nana made. Politics is the art of the possible. And I totally subscribe to the idea that nobody should be begging to be given the presidency. To begin with, the only crazy people aspire to be presidents. The presidency is a terrible job. And nobody should beg to do it. That's my view. So anybody who wants to do it has got to have a plan and has got to have a constituency. But it's also a competition, and I tend to agree it's not a donation. nobody's going to say, oh, give me the job because it's my turn. I have the most equitable case for assuming the presidency. I'm not one of those who says Nigeria was a tripod of Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. That is fallacy. That was an Igbo creation. Nigeria had very substantial minorities, as they were called. And the case of the minorities began well before independence. The Willing Commission only buried it. And then they whipped it up at the beginning of the Civil War in order to create the 3 states out of what was then the Eastern region. Of course, you can go back and look at the history of the creation of the Midwest region and how that came about as a project to contain Awolowo and the Action Group. So I'm not into that tripod tendency. In any case, Nigeria has evolved from the 1959 election. In 1959, the NPC did not field any candidate in the South before marching to take power in Lagos. Nobody can do that now. And so we've got to rise beyond our comfort levels. I accept all of these as given. That said, it's also the case that we're probably having a multiple geometry conversation, a variable geometry conversation here. And if you only need to look at the chat box here to see that there are different understandings to this conversation. So let me say 3 things, therefore. Number 1, we're having this zoning conversation because we've failed to create a country in which there is equal opportunity and in which every citizen counts. And so the first question a Nigerian asks you is, where are you from? So that we can put you in a box and know what quantity of prejudice to visit on you. Okay? And so because we have failed to create a country in which there is equal opportunity, equality of opportunity and equality of citizenship and equality of humanity, we are looking for zoning. Because if you don't get to have it zoned to you, you will not go anywhere. So my question is, how do we, in addition to having this zoning conversation, also have a conversation about a country in which we can all aspire to basic decencies and the basic things, whether you're Dele Momodu or Mwazu or Chidi, at the end of the day, the things that we all look for are broadly the same. Now, number 2, how do we achieve geostrategic equity? We are saying the way to do that is the next president of Nigeria should come from the southeastern states. But this thing is not going to be achieved on the basis of just equity. Now, look at the restructuring argument. Nigeria is not built on possibilities, it's built on trumps. To stop restructuring, all you need is Northwest and a fraction of the Northeast. But you will need all 3 geopolitical zones in the South agreeing to be able to stop restructuring, a model of restructuring they don't want. That means we have an unbalanced federalism. We have an unbalanced set of hemispheres. How are we going to compete? We therefore need the North Central. What conversations are we having with the North Central to make this possible? And finally, I will stop here. Number 3, there is also the question of the quality of the candidates that we are going to present. In addition to equity, let me be very honest. I use nobody to nobody in my Igbo identity. But if the question is, if the choice is between Ojus Okano, who is Igbo, or Rochas Okorocha, or Hope Uzodimma, who are Igbos, against Obadiah Mailafia, I will not just campaign for Obadiah Mailafia from Kaduna State, I will manage his campaign. And I will do it and say to hell with the idea of Igbo presidency. So my question is, which kind of Igbo are we going to produce? I am not into Igbo presidency without knowing who it is going to be or what quality of person it is going to be. I am beyond that now. The banditry has got to end. We also have Igbo bandits and we have to begin to bring them to account. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Wow.
Igbo bandits. I like that.
Igbo president that we want to bring forward. Safe, the right president, and support such a person. Now, I would like to invite Mazi Godson Azu, a UK-based media and PR consultant, and convener of the annual London Political Summit. Please help me welcome Mazi Godson Azu, please.
Yeah, sorry. Good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, most distinguished Nigerians back home in Nigeria and my fellow distinguished Nigerians in the diaspora on this platform. Just a small thing I have to add here. I really appreciate the fact that we're having this wonderful, rational space of discourse amongst ourselves about the way and the future of our great nation. My input will always be the role of the Nigerians in the diaspora are going to play in this new Nigeria we're dreaming of, and we're hoping to observe. I'm on the train, so that is a bit of noise, so I'm very sorry about that. First of all, I'd like to make it clear here one very important philosophy I have close to my heart every time I think about politics, and is the word that I read from one of Plato's books, and it says something like this, a quote, that a political life is life in the pulpit. You cannot play politics without people. There is no people without politics. When we say some people own Nigeria, I think it's a fallacy to me. Nigeria is owned by all. Just that the fact that few families have decided to take Nigeria and Nigerians for granted. And this so-called, I may use the word oligarchy or footwall lordship authority that is few against the many in Nigeria, where we find ourselves today as a country. Then I would say to Nigerians, every single man born by the blood of the Nigerian man is an owner of the land called Nigeria. Whether the name Nigeria is an artificial construct by the British, yet as a nation, as an entity, as by the United Nations and worldwide as a name, all own Nigeria. Let's forget about the Lantan Mafians, the Kaduna Mafians, the present-day Botulon Mafians, and the present-day Daura Mafians. They are all indivisible people that will fiddle away generation from generation. And yet, the children of today and tomorrow have owned the land that a song in my school days used to say, my father's land. My father's land is our land. We talk about zoning. Zoning, I see it as a theory in the heart and in the mind of those who conspired for it to be an idea within their political mindset. It wasn't a real thing in their mind. I believe that it is time we go back and ask ourselves who actually owns Nigeria. How are we going to be the real owner of our great country, Nigeria, and take the absolute ownership of that country, Nigeria? And it takes people knowing that politics is about them. And then, without politics, there is no leadership and governance. The people have to rise up. The people have to wake up. The people have to come out of their sleeping cocoons and be real to reality. A lot of us are believing that certain things will happen by magic. Nothing happens by magic. And that is why the few are controlling the many. They say when the good people sleep, the wicked rules the land. And that is what we are saying. And so for me, 2023, I do not see much about zoning, but I see much about an argument of what I tend to call compensatory politics. Compensatory politics in the sense that since 1999, two ethnic regions have been compensated for one reason or the other. And as such, we have to make an argument. If you compensate the Southwest because of Abiola, and you compensate the late Musa Yaradua because of his senior brother, Shehu Yaradua, and when he died, the North took arms and said that Yaradua did not complete his administration as such, did not complete. And in that sense, arguments came in favor of the North to present Buhari. And I know the lives of people who went on campaigning for Buhari as a man of merit, men of integrity, including my very good brother there, Dele Momodu, all campaign. And I was one of those who stood in Chatham House and declared a citizen arrest on him when he came to speak in Chatham House in 2015, telling Nigerians that this can never be the savior of Nigeria. Today, what are we seeing? What are we hearing? Same story. And so, merit, very good. But then, who is the man? Like my brother, last speaker, Professor said, who is the man from the Southeast? Where is his predicate? Where is his personality? Who is he that I may lay down my life, thoughts of my life, his imagination as we need to make that argument. The Southwest have had their turn in the last 20 years. The North has had their turn the last 20 years. The people of the Southeast extraction are saying, are we not due for this compensatory politics? After 50 years of sacrifice, with 20 pounds in our pocket, we rebuild the economy of that country. We rebuild the social fabric of that country. We rebuild the educational fabrics of that country. 20 pounds in the hands of few from the Southeast extraction. 50 years after, we are still looking like third, second-class owners of Nigeria. We are original owners of that great country, Nigeria. And if others are compensated for one reason or the other, we are duly and overdue for same compensation in 2023. And I believe we shall receive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my dear brother. It's good to see you again. Thank you, sir. And happy safe trip home. Thank you so much. It gives me great delight to invite and welcome Chief Michael Iluebunam. He is the co-chair of the Anambra State Association USA. And I would please ask Lady Aziza Uko to be on standby. So, Chief Michael Iluebunam, please, you are welcome to join us now. Thank you, sir. Okay, I can see Nancy Godson's Azu's new book. Fantastic.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can hear me.
Can hear you, sir.
It's a pleasure, Dele, this is my first time meeting you.
Thank you, sir.
Only that it was that hey, it's all good. I want to take this opportunity to say, to send my regards to all the participants in this forum. I have kind of cataloged all the contributions everyone is making, and based on what I have heard, I think we have identified the problems and the challenges that we have. And to me, it is about time that we start strategizing on how to take the power from those oligarchies and those few that has monopolized power and put Nigeria into the distress form that it is today. We can do it. The power belongs to the people. We cannot beg or plead to them to zone nothing. If they don't zone, we can use the third force. And it is time now for us to start mobilizing and thinking about the third force. If we can organize and we don't get any traction within the two major political parties, I think the third force should be an option. We need to start now, start voter registration. voter registration, voter registration. So many times they have said in the Southeast, the numbers are not there, the voters are not there. Yes, they are. The only problem we have is that they are not registered and they don't show up during elections. So we need to do that, get them registered everywhere, south, southeast, northeast, get people registered, have people work with us. And if we do this and have the voters, we can take this power from this few. And that's what I think that we need to start doing at this point. And speeches, writing on the internet, doing all this stuff is not going to cut it. We have done that, been there, done that. It's not doing anything. It's just an academic exercise when we do what we do on the internet and all that. Those few individuals that have monopolized power, what do? They sit around in their country clubs and all those stuff and do what? And laugh over us and say, yeah, they make loud noise, but they don't do nothing. Yes, they have money. But I tell you what, we can contribute 10 naira, $10. If we have the numbers, it's going to turn into billions. We don't have to shell out 200 million to support a candidate. And those candidates who are interested in running supposed to step up right now and start making arrangements and start making plans, because you cannot be in your comfort zone and be recruited to come and run for an office. You have to have it in you and be ready to do what it takes. So I think that we should go back now and start planning on how to do all those things. And I think GLOMIP is a platform that we can use and we can all support to go out and start the registration drive and sensitizing the masses, educate them. Hopefully, we will have electronic transmission of votes. If we have that, I believe it was practiced in Canada also during the last election. If we can have electronic transmission of votes, that will limit all the shenanigans, the vote buying and stealing and change of figures that they do at the coalition center. So these are the stuff that we need to be working on, pushing all this, our representatives and the senators to see if they can come into actuality electronic transmission of vote. If we can get that and do what we need to do, I think we can. We'll be home. We'll be successful. So let me stop here, and I'll continue to listen. And it's a pleasure being part of this. And I thank all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Now, help me welcome Lady Aziza Uko, the president, the publisher, executive, the editor of the Trent online newspaper. Lady Aziza Uko. You are welcome, please. Lady Aziza Uko, are you there, please? Please unmute if you are there. Lady Aziza Uko, are you there, please? Okay, if she's not there or she's not ready, please welcome Dr. C.C. Freeman from London. Dr. C.C. Freeman, please feel free to open your mic. Thank you, sir. Is Dr. C.C. Freeman there, please? Okay, if we are waiting for him, we can now go to Ima Ewenna. Ima Ewenna, if you are there from Germany, please feel free to take that space now. What's going on? I can see Dr. C.C. Freeman is here. I don't know why we are not even. Hello, good evening, sir. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, good evening. Dr. C.C. Freeman is my name. I'm in Cambridge, the United Kingdom. I've heard many of the speakers. Thank you very much for having me in this discussion. I'm not a politician, but I've seen what is going on in Nigeria. And it baffles me that after 16 years, we haven't got it right. Presently, Nigeria is not safe to anyone after 60 years of our independence. We haven't reached an agreement as a country. It's just, we are talking about tribes. But let me come down to what is at stake. Yes, zoning of presidency has been going on. And I think in 2023 is the time for Southeast in 2023. Before, I didn't buy this idea, but I've listened to many speakers and I see where everything is revolving. So I believe that since zoning has been going on, okay, when it comes to zone, maybe zone 6 or the last zone, which is Southeast, let's give it to them. Southeast, like any other zones, they have intellectuals. They have people that are capable of running any place in the world. Take, for instance, here in UK, I control the government in my own way. How do I control the government? Once you have that truth in you, you have love in you, you have that justice and rule of law, these 4 elements, if you put it in democracy, it runs very well. Because you can't have a country without the leaders being truthful. That's our problem. It has nothing to do with tribe. We have good people in the north. I lived in Kano. We have good people in southeast. We have good people in southwest. Name it. Any part of Nigeria, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. But most people are good people. So coming to politics and the zoning, let us give it to the southeast this time around. Once you give it to southeast, they are able to bring out the best out of the best. Then the whole Nigerians will be behind them. I believe in citizens. Yes, that's what I believe. Citizen, not tribe. But being a citizen, I live in Kano. I enjoy living there. I have no enemy in northern Nigeria. I have no enemy in southeast. So if we can say, yes, we are Nigerians, why not? As a British citizen here, I don't say, oh, the Scottish people, I don't like them. No. Or the Irish people, I don't like them. No, we are the same. Humanity, that's what I can pass for. So we have people like me in Southeast. Professor Mohalo is there. I supported him during his last time of coming out. He didn't even know about it. Yes, I supported him, frankly. So we have people in Southeast who can take Nigeria to the promised land. And I'm one of them, but I don't want to contest as a president. I want to support. I believe in something that we all go with. I don't care where you come from. I believe in humanity. And Nigerians as a whole are very loving people. They have everything. But what we lack is leadership. A leader that is very truthful. I don't care where you come from. I'm a justice, an incorruptible justice. I don't care who you are. What I want is to be truthful to you, to love you, to give you justice and rule of law. Here in UK, we don't care who you are. Boris Johnson is our prime minister, but he's not the one ruling us. What is ruling us is what? Rule of law. That's where everybody is focusing, rule of law. Not that, Dr. Sisi Freeman is capable of taking Nigeria to the promised land. Yes, his own idea. But what is the implementation? What you put on the map for people to follow, that rule of law. If I misbehave, I go to jail. Yes, set an example, which is better than precept. Not just saying, I can do better, I can do this. But you are not living, to expectation of what you are saying. So what we need is people that think rightly, not people that think about their zone or thinking about their tribe. No, we have people in Southeast. They don't think about coming from Southeast. They think about Nigeria and Nigerians. Dele, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
And listen to others. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to, I don't know if Lady Aziza Uko is available now, please. Lady Aziza Uko, are you ready, please? Please unmute if you are ready. Still no response. Okay, I would like to go to Dr. Vincent Uzuegbu, who is based in Chicago. Is the diaspora coordinator of the Global Movement for Equal President 2023. I can see that my friend, brothers and sisters are leaving no stone unturned. So maybe you let us into the secret or the strategy of having an Igbo president in 2023. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dele. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity to be part of this discussion. I greet everybody present. I also thank all the speakers that came before me. I listened intently, and there were lots to take from each of the speakers. But I tried to look at the 2023 presidency and the issue of restructuring as a practical issue. Let's talk about these issues in practical terms. I mean, we can all theorize and think about ideologies and what's the best out there. What is the ideal situation? We all know Nigeria is bereft of problems. There are so many problems. Of course, we could think about insurgency and NSAS, and so many agitational groups all around the country. I tend to look at 2022 presidency and the issue of restructuring as growth opportunities. I look at them as opportunities. I mean, every country, developed, third world countries, developing economies, they all have their own history. They all have their trajectory. Some it took more than 100 years, some it took more than 2 years. If we need to look at we need to contextualize 2023 presidency as well as restructuring. And when we contextualize them, we can look at them, together alongside the problems that Nigeria is facing. That's very, very important. We got to look at those as ways to fix our problems, or even start the journey, or become a phase or stage as far as fixing our problems or solving some of the problems, not to add to the issues. I did listen to Professor Timmy gave a good background about the doctrine of self-determination. Man, if you want to bring that home a little bit today, or even contextualize that to our discussion today, I mean, it wouldn't be I wouldn't think I'm going far beyond the application if I think about ethnic and tribal, or even, determination for each of the political zones that, we have in Nigeria. I heard about other speakers mention the problems of Nigeria, failure of leadership, talked about the role of poverty, orientation or disorientation of voters. But that tells me that fundamentally the problem is that it's the weakness and immaturity of our entire political process, how we elect our leaders. That's fundamentally what the problem is. If we have a good system, a good process, at the end of the day, for the most part, good leaders should be emerging. I mean, just an example, think about each of our political parties. What ideology differentiates one from the other? Personally, I mean, if you think about, the US, think of America, of course, we mentioned Democrats, you should know, everybody knows where they stand. Republicans, everybody knows what the Republican stands. Everybody knows. That tells us that part of the problem, or fundamentally our problem, is the political process is weak and immature. Now, when we think about, I look at these, when we think about 20, and I look at it that we have two options. If we think about that ideal situation of let the best man or woman, we should also be able to live with consequences, even if it takes us 20 years or 30 years, as far as the trajectory of growth is concerned. Or we can also think about it a little more radically, that has existed for quite some time, which all of us are good at. It says unspoken. One fundamental question I have, if it's an unspoken rotation preference, why are we even having a discussion about whose turn? What has gone wrong? What happened? And that's a question to really think. Is it because it's turn for the Southeast? If we talk about the concept of one Nigeria, in terms of party returns, the Igbos have embraced that more than other parts of the country. Everywhere the Igbos go, everywhere. I land and build houses, build businesses, basically the build forever. fairness, for equity, and in the context of solving Nigeria's problems. But in the process, I don't see any other way than to zone the 2023 presidency. That will be a long way solving our problem. And I did listen to about the issue of, we can be talking about zoning, we're talking about who should be the right team. Zoning first step. After that, the issue of who should emerge each of the political parties comes the next step. Struggle. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Stella, for this time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. I don't know if Dr. Usman Ishaku is there and he would like to say a few words. It's of the Department of Psychosocial Science, University of Padua. So if he's there, we'd like to have him speak to us on the topic. Then, please, my brother in the other, please be on standby. It's nice to welcome you very soon. Thank you. I think we have just about 30 minutes to go. Here we've been at this for two and a half hours now. Wow. We are live on Facebook, we are live on Instagram, and of course, we are on a Zoom conference at the moment. So, yes, we're going to make this available to the whole world because this is a very, very useful debate. If it's not ready, Hekato, can you please come on quickly? And then I would like to invite the convener back. So this is about the forthcoming national dialogue on the 2023 presidential transition, which we hold in May. So there is a major. So this is just like a dress rehearsal to prepare us for that conference. Yes, Eyi, are you ready, please?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you, Mr. Adelumon.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of the speakers today. So, by the way, my name is Eyekato, and I'm based in England. I'm a journalist here. Yeah. So I write for the Standard Gazette. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of people here. Their opinions are very, very important. You see. I just want to quickly respond to it. I was taking note as they were speaking. So maybe one way or the other, I'll be able to find a way to respond to each and every one of them. First of all, to win election in Nigeria, I'll quickly say it's all about religion, region, money, and the last one is INEC. And that is what makes it very sad. You see, INEC is supposed to be independent body, but in Nigeria, when you have money, it's just like buying tomatoes in the market. So it's what it is. And if you don't win by religion, region will mess you up, or in the end, it's all about the money. That's where one of my brother, Professor Femi Olufumi, that nowadays talk about financial inducement. Yeah, yes, it's a major concern in Nigeria. If that aspect is not addressed, and Nigeria is going to keep going downhill, I think it's a major issue. When you are inducing the both financially, people that are responsible should be held responsible for it to serve as a deterrent for others not to follow. If we are able to discourage that aspect, we will have true voters and not voters that are false, or people that are influenced by the amount they make during elections. Yeah, so talking about Igbo presidency, zoning is a major issue here today. I understand that people don't want zoning anymore. I think it's a shame because I will advise or suggest before you remove zoning, you have to first of all let it go round. Yeah, the North they've served the term now. That we had in the south they had 4 years with Jonathan. We have Segun Obasanjo from the Southwest. Then it's time for the Southeast to take their time. I don't know why they distrust. I think the major issue with the Southeast is the Southeast. You see, they have internal problems. If it is an Igbo man have this major issue, not all of them, just saying these politicians. If I am not the candidate, then no one else will be the candidate. In the last election, this PDP presidential candidate, Atiku, took it closer to the Igbo when he nominated Peter Obi as running mate. So close that they just couldn't come together as one in order to support that person because they were so envious that why is it Peter Obi, why him? So they found a way to sabotage that particular ticket. They discourage. They found a way. They support when there is a fire in your own home, then you run to the house of your enemy. Let me put it that way. And it's a shame. So they did everything to ensure that if Peter Obi does not come out as the vice president, nobody wants to shake Peter Obi's hands as the vice president, even though he's the closest they've gotten in many years. You see? So when I hear South Nigerians talk about together, one Nigeria, I do believe in that sometimes. That how do we bring the norms to the table to discuss one Nigeria when the only thing that rings in these people's head is dominance? That is the only thing they think about, dominance. It's all about religion, it's all about dominance. And that puts Nigeria in a very risky position. If there's no Turkey, Nigeria is going to break, whether they like it or not. It's been something people have been talking about for many years. But one day it's going to come, because right now we are at the verge of another civil war. You see, people are getting more angry, more impatient. People are getting woke every day. It's becoming a problem. And we have a president who believes he's the northern president. He doesn't even know his role. He's afraid of the camera. The only time he makes a reasonable speech is when he's out of the country just to impress. So we have a major problem in Nigeria, and Igbo people deserve their presidency. If they are going to cancel the zoning, let everybody get their opportunities first before you go back to the table and put another suggestion up. That if we are going to be selecting presidential candidates based on quality, one of my brothers talked about not knowing who the person is. You would rather support someone else instead of an Igbo man. So the question is, how do you know who anyone is? That is the question. Because I know Mr. Adele Momodu on Twitter and right now on Zoom, so when he contests presidency tomorrow, I said, I know him very well because he has spoken. I don't really know him. I don't even know me. It's a major problem. So we should try as much as possible to be fair to ourselves. Nigeria's problem is civility. We don't have it. Everyone is so drunk with power, we forget our objective. An average Nigerian knows exactly what the Nigerian problem is before they get into power. But the moment they just enter into that office, it looks like it's a curse. Everyone forgets what it is that they actually promised. That vision they saw will just disappear. They are now after their own pocket. There will be siphoning money that they will not even spend in their next life. I think that Nigerian problem is very vast. It's too vast to discuss in just one Zoom conference. We all need to come together and ask ourselves if we want Nigeria to continue as a country, or we want Nigeria to stop where it is now. If we want the togetherness or one Nigeria, let Igbo people run. They deserve that opportunity. They are part of the geopolitical zones, which I never supported in the first place. But they are part of it. They deserve their own share. So I understand that the time is running out. So I'm just going to make this last one here. If God is saying that something is too good to be true, at times we should just believe it. God tried to warn us against Buhari. We just didn't listen. And somebody kept running how many times? And we just didn't listen. So we are here today. The man has nothing else to offer. All his ideas ended about 2 years ago or 1 year into his presidency. He's just there in his own retirement home right now in Asura, just having his own last fun before he goes home to his grandchildren. So if we are going to find another president, we need someone that is younger, vibrant, someone that will be able to bring Nigeria close to the world of today. We are too backward. We are just too far backward. And that is a problem. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Adele Momodu.
Oh, thank you. Nice seeing you on this platform. Okay, Ajia, please feel free. I've been looking for you, so please kindly introduce yourself and let's have your take on this debate.
Hello, good evening. My name is Bilkisu.
I didn't get your name, ma.
Bilkisu.
Bilikisu.
No, not Bilikisu. Bilkisu.
Okay.
Bilkisu.
Okay, please go on. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. David. This is the first time I've heard so much about you, and I'm meeting you for the first time. And in fact, I think I'm meeting almost everybody here for the first time. Mr. Chibi Odenekalu, I respect you a lot. I think what we are talking about here, I wouldn't say it's sensitive, and I wouldn't say it's not achievable. It's achievable. But the first thing I would be asking is that, are we still talking about healing or development? That's a very big question. Because when we start talking about zoning, we need to know the aims and objectives behind it. Is it to develop Nigeria, to take it from where it is now to where we want it to be? The zoning that we have been having since 2009, I beg your pardon, what has it done for us? Has it put food on my table? Has it made the hospitals in Nigeria work? Has it given us good roads, infrastructures? What has it done for us? Nothing. Now, when we now go into politics, before going into politics, now the forum we are on today, what exactly do we want to achieve? Because it is all about 2023. What do we really want to achieve? Can we change, through the third first? Because when you talk about the third first, we're talking about having a structure. Structure is not something you build in a decade. Because we are talking about every local government in Nigeria. Politics is about numbers. Can third first win it? I don't think so. Anywhere in the world, Donald Trump, who said he is not good for numbers, he had the numbers. So it is numbers we're looking for here. So what role do we exactly want to play? Do we want to become lobbyists to produce a visionary leader? If somebody from the Igbo extraction is that visionary leader, then we should lobby for it. Because when we now start to talk about the southern zone, because in politics, there are only two zones, the southern zone and the northern zone. Because when you talk about the southern zone and the northern zone, since 2009, I think since Obasanjo era, both zones have had their fair share. But when you now start to go to the geopolitical zone, it is not just the southeast that has not had it. What about the northeast? What about the North Central? So I don't think we should start talking about the ethnicity in it at this point. We should be giving what they don't have. And what is that thing they don't have? It's be the knowledge and being in the 21st century. How do we want to develop Nigeria? Because basically, the common man is having his social contract. For us to fulfill the social contract, have his basic amenities, I just want to live good. So basically, that is what I think we should be talking about. What are our aims and objectives? What do we want to achieve as a forum? Is it to produce a president from the southeast, or is it to build Nigeria? I think we should think about it, because when we keep saying that it is the southeast, it is the southeast, is it the southeast? Is the southeast going to take us to that dreamland we're talking about? I am of the generation that I'm not really for whether it's from the north or it's from the south. What I want is a visionary leader. I want a Dubai in Nigeria. I want a leader like that leader in Dubai who has done away with ethnicity in Dubai. They have over 250 ethnicity in Dubai, but everything has been thrown to the doorstep just to build Dubai. Why can't we do that in Nigeria? Why do we keep hammering on if an Igbo man today or an Igbo woman today becomes the president? Is it going to change Nigeria for us? If another man tomorrow becomes the president, is it going to change Nigeria for us? Is it the change we want, or is it the ethnicity feeling that my own man or my own woman is in it? What benefit is it going to be for me? So please, I don't know. Maybe we should think about what we really want for Nigeria as a whole, and again, what role we want to play towards 2023 as a forum. If we want to be the lobbyists for Southeast, then we should start looking for the visionaries in the Southeast. Maybe that is what we should start doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adia. Thank you so much for that brilliant speech. I think someone already addressed part of your contribution by saying zoning first, competence after. That once you get the issue of zoning first, right, then you can be sure that you don't lack competent people. That is not in contention. If you want a Silicon Valley for Nigeria, of course, it must be somewhere around the Igbo nation, the southeast of Nigeria. So I don't think that's an issue. So I'd like to call the convener, the man who has invited all of us here. So I want him to speak at this stage because we'll be closing very soon. It's been very long, and tomorrow is another day. Comrade Yere, please, if you can join us now, thank you. Yes, comrade.
Thank you, Chief Mamadou. Thank you to every one of us here. I would like, before I proceed, Chief Mamadou, I would like to find out if it will be possible for us to have the names and numbers of those of us who participated in this Zoom meeting. Is it possible? Chief Mamadou, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, yes. I was trying to make a request. Is it possible to have the names and numbers of those of us who participated in this Zoom meeting? I have some of the names, but I'm seeing some few names. Some few names, I don't have their numbers.
All we need to do is request them to kindly type it out, and then Mr. Benjamin Ozei of the Vision International Television should be able to compile for us, and then we'll pick it later. No problem.
Okay, thank you very much. If that could be possible, that would be fine. There is something I want to say here to every one of us, because I dare to differ. I dare to contend the fact that I dare to contend with anyone who tries to say that the third force cannot win the next election. The only hope we have for this country actually is to try build a third force, like Chief Mike suggested. The APC and the PDP, I see them as one and same party. That's my perception. If you check the people today who make up the APC, they came out of the PDP. And those of them again who have now started leading the PDP also moved out of the APC. And whatever new party Rocha Sokorocha and his group are trying to form tomorrow, they are going to bring people out of the APC and the PDP. Imagine an APC ticket zoned to the southeast, who will have either Ojikalu, Rocha Sokorocha, or Hope Uzodima being the flag bearer of that party. What hope do you think we have? If we even want to make it worse, let's say not Hope Uzodima, not Okorocha, not Kalu, but Yaya Bello. What do you think of a leadership that is handed over by President Buhari to Yaya Bello? What do you think of that future? It's an utter disaster. You say that these major parties will definitely send this ticket, for example, to someone they know will do what they want, not someone who will do what you and I want. That future we desire for Nigeria, they won't sell the ticket to such a person. Come to the PDP. I'm sure PDP on their own will pick Peter Obi. Since we have started this advocacy, Peter Obi has not made any comment. The reason for it is because he doesn't want to offend Atiku. Peter Obi is very comfortable with the position of a VP. He doesn't want to say anything that could make the northern campus dislike him and not consider him when the ticket is sold to the southeast. What does that tell you? For those of us who are saying Peter Obi, what that tells us is that when he becomes the flag bearer and he wins the election, they will sit down in their homes in Adamawa and submit to him the list of ministers and ambassadors. If we must dare to make a difference, we should be courageous enough to start something new. Let's try it out. It will work. I still believe in starting something new through what I could refer to as ballot revolution. More than 90% of the Nigerian youths are not happy. No jobs, no food, no social welfare. Nothing exists for them. No future for them, no future for their children. A lot of them cannot get married. They have gone to school, they have earned degrees, they have done their NYC, but they are back to their father's houses. I think this is an opportunity for us to reach out to them. Are you aware that the young people, they represent the largest electoral constituency in Nigeria? What was the number Jonathan scored in 2015? What year was that? Was it 2013 or 2012 or 2011? What did Jonathan score? What number of votes did he score? It was about 15 million. The last one we did, what did Buhari score? It was less than 17 million. Do you know how many numbers we have in millions of young people who are eligible to vote? If we can get 35% of every youth who is registered to vote for a certain candidate, then he becomes the next president. Then we must start now to reorganize the civil society, because they are the ones who connive with INEC to ring election. That is the truth. We need to send warnings to the EU, to the UK, to the US, because they are part of the rigging process. What do you call observation of elections? The EU, the UK, and the US paying money to INEC and asking INEC to recruit CSO that are loyal to them and be recruited as observers. That's what you see. Nigeria belongs to all of us. We must come together to define how we can make it work. If you stand in here telling me that unless the APC and the PDP produces the next president, that nothing else can work, that means we are not ready for that change. We should be able to sit down and send a message to these people that the government and the governors and the political system of this nation must be controlled by the people. The time has come for us to take charge of our elections and our electoral processes and the results we produce. We need to start now to start campaigning and advocating for electronic transmission of results in 2023. And if we'll achieve that, by 50 or 60 or 70%, we can be sure that the outcome of 2020 election will be fair. Look at Mahmoud being returned to power because he knows how to do the job well for them. How to declare who didn't win and how to victimize those who win. The people who were protesting for NSAS, the real NSAS is the ballot revolution, where the people, the youth, will now stand up to take the destiny of this nation on their shoulders and go out there, get a PVC. That PVC is the weapon with which we can clean the system. That's what I believe. To summarize why I want to thank all of us. This Zoom meeting we just have now is to prepare us for the real dialogue that we want to have, something like this, that it will not be on Zoom. We want to have it in Transcorp. We are looking at the 31st of May this year. We want to bring people together from across the zones and the regions, across the diaspora, and we also invite the foreign political blocs to join us. Because in every election we organize in this country, the US, the UK, and the EU, they play roles. And those roles they play do not usually work in our favor. We also need to bring them to join us in that dialogue so that we can speak to address the problem they even create for us when we vote. My appeal is this. The appeal is simple, that together let us begin to plan towards that national dialogue which we have proposed to hold in May. If we sit down here and don't take actions that could help us actualize such a dialogue, Nigeria is a funny country. A country, people will, you see this cabal, whatever they have conceived to do in the past that we laughed off and said those things were not going to be possible. Before our very eyes, those things were possible. If we don't do anything to stop whatever plans they have, your next president may be Yaya Bello or Jikalu or maybe Erufai. And you know what will become of us. So please, 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 and please, those of us who are here, I will reach out to you again by tomorrow so that we can set up our committee to start planning for that national dialogue. I want to thank Chief Mamadou. I want to thank Professor Tommy, Mr. Kadibo, Iyom Aneni, every other person, Right Honorable Asake, my brother Badaya Malafia. I want to thank even those of us whose names we do not know. This is the beginning of a journey that we actually redefine our political future and our destiny. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. I think you have spoken very passionately. I am hoping that I'll be able to speak on another platform in the next couple of days. I disagree with Comrade on the number of issues. I've been a presidential candidate. I know Nigeria reasonably well, and I know that politics is different from advocacy. It's very easy for us to be passionate about our country, to say we have 80 million youths who are going to vote. It doesn't work out that way on election day. The truth of the matter is that when you combine poverty with ignorance and with INEC, then you will see a different reality. Even in America, we saw what happened. Donald Trump could not have done it on his own. Ross Perot tried as an independent candidate. Trying a third force in Nigeria within 1 to 2 years is like starting a journey that has no end. But as I said, we will develop this later. It's good for us to dialogue. I'm not saying it is impossible, but I don't see how it is feasible in the next 2 years. The guy who wants to be president of Nigeria started the job more than 10, 20 years ago. If you look at MK Abiola, people just saw that he came out in 1993. But trust me, he's been preparing for that work for 20, 25 years. So the truth of the matter is that the forces at play are not going to go away just by mere wishful thinking. We have to get much more strategic. We're not going to invite saints from heaven to govern us. Politics, I've emphasized, is a game of number. And in every society, there are usually more bad people than good people. Until Buhari, the saint in quotes, joined forces with the so-called bad people, he couldn't win election. He tried it 3 times, he failed. So that should open our eyes to the reality that politics is a game of number. So let's begin to see it as a game of number and see how those who want power can work with other people to get power. But if we just sit down and we think, oh, the youths are just going to vote, oh, because they are hungry, all the people I fed in my area the day of election, all of them queued up behind the big parties. They were handing 500 to them, and they didn't vote for me. That's the reality. Forget it. On the day of election, people just want what they can. Let me just get my own at home. At any rate, it's been a very, very wonderful night, and I hope that we all learned one thing or the other. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Good night, everybody. Our friends on Facebook and on Instagram, thank you very much.